chances are Ava Kris Tyson's probably been all over your For You page or your recommendations for the last couple of days. And it's essentially just been everybody dogpiling on Ava, but for a good reason. Recently, this YouTuber uncovered some deplorable shit Ava did in their past, and ever since then, the internet's demanded its pound of flesh. So I'll give you a quick rundown of what other YouTubers have covered, and then I'll give you my take on the whole situation. So back when Ava was just Kris Tyson, male, they said some questionable things to an undisclosed amount of minors. It was on their Snapchat, their Twitter feed, Discord groups. They also stayed in contact with a minor, Lava GS, for quite some time. And apparently they were also a supporter of Shadman, who was infamous for drawing CP of actual children. So for those of you who don't remember, Keemstar has this daughter named Mia, and Keemstar and Shadman were in this beef for quite a while. And so Shadman, as a way to get back at Keemstar, he draw actual CP of his daughter, Mia. Like, that's actually just menace behavior right there. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here. Apparently, Kris also bought art from Shadman, allegedly. So all of that culminated into Kris's permanent termination from the MrBeast group. And that's pretty much all the information that I have in this situation right now. So that brings us to my point. First and foremost, SunnyV2 was right. I think everybody who critiqued them for that video needs to come forward and apologize, because Kris actually turned out to be a weirdo and became a huge liability for MrBeast. So for those of you who don't remember, about a year ago, SunnyV2 uploaded this video about Kris before she became Ava. He critiqued Ava for being a potential brand liability to MrBeast, but this was in the context of Ava's recent transition at the time, so people took it as Sunny saying being transgender is a brand liability. And obviously, people did not take that well, and they shit on him for it. Hundreds of comments calling him a transphobe. Other YouTubers called him out for making up drama where there is none. And you know what? I was on their side. I believed the narrative. Oh, so this person exercises their right to do what they want with their own body, and instead of minding your business, you critique them for exercising their right. Oh, just what a sin. Free will? We can't have that here. This is just another YouTuber creating drama out of nowhere just to farm views. Jarvis, cut off his balls. Now, why were so many people outraged at SunnyV2? Well, in the video, Sunny highlights how Kris's appearance became more feminine over time and how people took issue with this change. The angle Sunny took conveyed this message that Kris's transition is somehow ruining a lot of people's lives, especially their kid, Tucker. This is how most people received it, and the LGBTQ community and just the greater online community as a whole was understandably upset. I personally still do not agree with that implication that the video made. By principle, I believe everybody should have the right to do what they want with their own bodies, as long as they don't harm anybody else. I know, insane take, top 10 most controversial takes of all time, but for a while that really seemed to be the case. Kris assured everyone that Tucker was well loved, and many others along with members of the MrBeast crew like Nolan and Jimmy were supportive of the change. So there seemed to be no issue, right? That's what I thought too. If you watch this section in Sunny's video, Sunny does not hide his malice at all.
But Kris did make these bizarre jokes about Jimmy being female, making him incredibly uncomfortable.
Oh my god, Jimmy, look, they drew you. Jimmy, they drew you so well. It looks just like you.
The clips that he shows in descriptors on the video are very subjective and are clearly biased against Kris. So obviously this video wasn't made from an objective point of view, and I couldn't take it at face value. So I wanted to check out the live stream for myself, and luckily I was able to find this re-upload of that same live stream after MrBeast took it down.
All right.
We started.
We're here.
Around the 24-minute mark, Jimmy just completely checks out, and you could see it happen multiple times afterwards. No matter which way you spin it, his body language and facial expressions all scream discomfort. I'm not saying it was Kris's transition that caused this discomfort here. It's totally possible that MrBeast is just like that normally outside of YouTube videos, or maybe in this particular day he was just low energy. Again, I don't know. I wasn't there. I can only speculate. But given what we see in the video here, I feel like it's safe to assume that there was something weighing heavily on his mind that day. I also noticed that Chandler never looked directly at Kris. There were times that he looked in Kris's general direction, but never direct eye contact. You know how you act around someone that you're not particularly close with, but you want to acknowledge their presence, so you make some small talk, you crack a couple jokes here and there, like, oh, what's up with the weather? Oh, haha, right? You're just essentially just trying to kill time until your friend comes back. That is the same type of body language Chandler had in this video. You couldn't tell me otherwise. Again, I'm not saying this is any sort of evidence that there's something heinous going on in the Mr. Beast crew, but clearly it shows us there's something more going on behind the scenes even way back then. And this seems to be backed up when this person who claims to have worked for Mr. Beast before came out with this.
My name's Dawson. I worked at Mr. Beast from February to May of this year, 2024. Kris is the tip of the iceberg. I heard many times that Ava Kris Tyson is a major liability, but they can't get rid of her because she's already threatened legal action and she knows too much. And when all this information comes out about everything that she knew, everything other people know, I promise you on everything Mr. Beast has done. Amazon, if you can get your money back, get your money back.
Also, Jake the Viking came out of the woodworks and tweeted, Jimmy knew, even though he stated that he left the group amicably like 4 years ago when he left.
It was pretty much like a kind of a mutual parting. You know, me and Mr. Beast, or me and Jimmy did not have any type of falling out. There was no argument. There was no bashing. There was none of that. It was very mutual because it was something I was already contemplating.
So it seems to me that he chose to keep his mouth shut to keep the peace, or maybe even avoid some sort of punishment if he spoke up. With all this evidence, I feel like we could safely assume that there was a lot more going on in the background than we were privy to. And I'm honestly surprised that this has stayed under wraps for so long. Matter of fact, it wasn't even under wraps. It was just out in the open, but just people just weren't looking. I don't know what this means for the Mr. Beast squad, but I'm really hoping we get some sort of transparency from them soon here so that we could ensure that this is just like a one-time thing instead of having another Blizzard situation on our hands. And you know what's crazy too? Other predators are coming out of the woodworks to shit on Ava. Just a couple of days after the video evidence dropped, who else but Sneako stuck his head out of his cuck cave to give his 2 cents on the whole situation.
Transgenderism is a mental illness, so I want to go over and expose this whole thing, okay? The truth is, Mr. Beast, I think, is objectively good, but I think he has the biggest burden of all time, which is the fact he started the channel with this dude, and this dude has been a pervert for years and years. His brain is rotted by porn, because porn is the #1 way that you can psyop somebody. Israel used porn as a weapon of warfare against Palestine in 2002. When they hijacked Palestinian TVs, what did they show? Did they show war propaganda? No. They showed porn because they knew that it could poison people's minds quicker, especially pure people.
Again, I just want to remind you, this is the outspoken supporter of Cuties, a film all about underage girls shaking their ass, talking right now.
I saw Cuties last night and it was pretty good. This is one of the movies that's gonna age well. The reason that I uninstalled TikTok was because every time I'd go on, there would be a probably a 13-year-old girl dancing to WAP. It shows children in a sexual way, but this is not unusual now. People on Twitter are saying, like, these kids need therapy, the parents need to be put in jail, the director needs to be jailed. No, man, no. These actresses were really good.
Dude, Sneako, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay, we're going to skip forward here because he gets lost in the red pill sauce so many times, but essentially he's reprimanding the bigger content creators for not treating this the same way that they did with the Dr. Disrespect situation. When he said this, it seems that he was right. For example, Kangmin Lee here compared Valkyrae and Poki's responses to both situations, and it seems like they're playing favorites. I don't know all the details regarding the Ava situation, but I want to make it clear. Any inappropriate behavior towards minors is unacceptable, regardless of who you are. It's a shame that people will see this as an opportunity to attack the trans community as a whole. One person's actions does not reflect on every single trans person, so please don't view it that way. I'm still in the process of moving, so I haven't been able to fully keep up, but in the meantime, since I've been tagged a bunch, pedophiles equals bad, trans does not equal pedo. She says trans does not equal pedo. The actions of one trans person does not mean all. Sucks to see so many anti-trans people act as if it does. I'm hoping Ava speaks up. Dr. D is still gross. Lastly, to the incels that only tagged Pokey and I to speak up, even though everybody did after D did himself, you're weird. Focus your hate towards the pedos for once. Yuck. Dr. Disgusting. Other people felt the same way about this too, stating how big content creators were afraid to call out a trans person because of some woke agenda. And while I agree, while some of the responses were half-assed, they also made these responses while information was limited. Valkyrie and Pokimane made these tweets the same day that Dr. Disrespect confirmed the allegations, whereas they made these tweets only a couple days after everybody started talking about Ava. So common sense tells me that they were probably waiting for more information to come through before taking one side or the other. And if any of these pea-brained idiots actually just understood that context exists, they would probably come to the same conclusion too. I mean, regardless, this is coming from Sneako. He's the same dude that fought tooth and nail to defend the age of maturity.
Here's an easy question. Listen, okay, so should we update or not? What do you think the age of consent should be, Sneako?
Yeah, this is not an important conversation.
No, it's a super important. You don't think kids are not as an important conversation? What do you think the age of consent should be?
I think it should be past at a developed age.
At a what is a developed age? If you had to set a law for it, what would you set it? What would you set it about?
I'd say it's a developed age.
No, answer the question, you fucking pussy. Holy shit. You see how you want to answer the question? You see how he's going to yap and not answer the question? I'm going to ask the same thing when you're done. Go ahead.
I just answered the question. I just told you.
What was the age?
I just told you at a developed age.
Sneako thinks you should be able to 9-year-olds. That's what Sneako thinks, and he won't answer that question honestly.
So take whatever he says with a large spoonful of salt. Also, someone claimed EDP445 might be coming out of retirement to shit on Ava. I'm convinced this isn't true, but he does have a track record of trying to revive his dead career, so we may just see him sometime soon here. Bro really put on the jersey one more time just to get spit on. There was no follow-up reply either, nor could I find video evidence that supports that claim, so I'm not going to say it's a fact. I think it's a whole bunch of baloney, but could you imagine? The poop goblin himself says you're a threat to kids? I'd love to know if this is real or not, so feel free to drop it in the comments section down below if you can, but honestly, this is just such a goofy situation to be in. Continuing on, at the time of recording this, Ava had this to say about the whole situation. I would like to apologize for any of my past behavior or comments if it hurt or offended anyone. It was not my intent. Seeing recent events, we've mutually decided it's best I permanently step away from all things Mr. Beast and social media to focus on my family and mental health. Which seems like a half admission, half dismissal statement. It's like another YouTuber non-apology that says, yes, I see what's going on, but I'm not going to publicly admit what everybody saw me do. For a situation as big as this, you gotta have a more direct apology if you're actually sorry for what happened. For example, the Watcher apology video, phenomenal example of what an apology video should be. It was short, it was concise, and it addressed all the points that everybody was concerned about. Matter of fact, it was so good, I was shocked they didn't break into an interpretive dance about how they were young, so they should never be held accountable for what they did. God, I was so young, I'm so wild, nobody could ever understand my struggles. Oh, what? I sexually assaulted someone who couldn't consent? Guys, I was 18. Everybody was like that. No, they weren't. I am still so upset that she's still filthy rich after all that's happened. To this day, she's still pulling millions of views every post that she makes. So she's still making a ton of money on TikTok, bro. People don't care. Just don't talk about something and the internet will just forget, and you could still make more money than any person could ever imagine. See, I'm stumbling over my words here. I'm so angry. Moving forward, I want to make a prediction. And feel free to come back to this video and shit on me if I'm wrong, or worship me if I'm right. I think Kris is going to stick her head into the sand and wait for the storm to blow over. And then at some point in the future, I don't know when, it's going to be revealed that Mr. Beast has been secretly slipping some money to Kris and their family the entire time. I have no insider information. I don't know if this is actually going to happen. I'm just saying they were best friends for a long time. And in some of the clips that they show, you could see Mr. Beast looking up at the Shadman artwork, which kind of indicates that he knew what was going on the entire time. So it's hard to imagine that all of a sudden that's it. They'll just cut off all communications. Clearly, Kris is already one step ahead, announcing that they're taking a break from social media, which just translates to, I'm not listening to none of you motherfuckers. And now they're also permanently leaving Mr. Beast, so my prediction's already halfway correct. But yeah, this situation just caught everybody off guard. Kris, who was once in so many people's good graces, turned out to be somebody completely different. And this is why you should never idolize these internet celebrities, man. At the end of the day, they are just people. They are strangers. They are not your friend. You do not know who these people are behind the screen. And you just have to remind yourself that these are just entertainers trying to do their job. So anyways, please stay safe and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.